Welcome to RotoWire's fantasy football draft season, sponsored by Circa Millions. Here are the wide receiver tiers that help you dominate drafts. Tier 1, we have Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in a tier of their own, but Jamar Chase coming off the Triple Crown season. Joe Burrow's his quarterback. We know that the Bengals defense is probably going to struggle. This team is going to have to throw some more. So Jamar Chase, although it was a year last year that was way beyond any season Chase had before, there's every reason to expect the volume will continue to be where it was in 2024. Justin Jefferson, don't overlook him. You're not going to probably draft him ahead of Chase, but Jefferson is the safest high floor, high ceiling player there is. Jefferson had 1,500 plus yards last year, which was a disappointing year for him. Justin Jefferson has 1,800 yard seasons, 1,600 yard seasons on his resume. He missed time a couple of years ago, but otherwise he's always on the field. Now, I know J.J. McCarthy's his quarterback, and that is a bit of a question. The team may run more, but Justin Jefferson could have a higher floor than Jamar Chase, but may not have the crazy ceiling that Chase showed last year. Both are winners in Tier 1. Tier 2, CeeDee Lamb and Malik Neighbors both should be target hogs. CeeDee Lamb actually benefits from the George Pickens acquisition. Pickens should be able to open up the field a bit for Lamb underneath because Pickens can get downfield really, really well. Dallas may not have much of a run game, so they are going to have to pass. Great news for CeeDee Lamb. Malik Neighbors, probably just a tick below CeeDee Lamb. He should get incredible volume, 171 targets last year. But there's no guarantee that Russell Wilson, plays at a decent enough level, but I think that won't be the problem. But at some point, if the Giants are losing and they go to Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors may be in the same spot he was in last year. And remember, the Week 17 eruption was great by Malik Neighbors, but he had a long period of games in which he only went over 82 yards one time. So early in the season, the yardage hit, but then the yardage was high floor, but there wasn't a ton of ceiling. So Neighbors is a great play regardless. But remember, if they have quarterback uncertainty, that could cap his ceiling. Tier 3, you have Puka Nacua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Brian Thomas. Puka Nacua has been amazing in his 2 years in the NFL. Did miss almost 2 months last year with a knee injury. Hopefully he stays on the field. Remember, Puka Nacua blocks a lot. He's often struggling to get up off the field. He's always taking violent collisions. Mostly he's been healthy. Again, that stretch last year it was a problem. So all that said, if Nacua maintains health, he has a ceiling that may not be Chase and Jefferson, but it's not far off. Devontae Adams could make a slight cut into that crazy target share Nacua was seeing last year, topped out at 46% in a number of games down the stretch. Amon-Ra St. Brown, his draft cost may be a little high because I think we're paying for that career year 2 years ago when he was over 1,500 yards. But still, St. Brown has a chance for 1,200 yards and double-digit touchdowns, making him a very safe play here. Even if Detroit goes to that formula where they're run heavy and they play defense, we saw last year, St. Brown is not the one who's going to lose targets. The people who lose targets will be Sam Laporta and Jamison Williams. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a very, very safe play, but I don't think he has the upside we saw 2 years ago. Brian Thomas Jr., everybody loves him, and rightfully so. Brian Thomas was a beast down the stretch the last 6 games last year. Here's my concern. Those games came with Mac Jones, and Mac Jones only had eyes for Brian Thomas. Trevor Lawrence, on the other hand, only worked 11 games with Brian Thomas to a couple of solid performances. Most of the games, low scoring, not much PPR value. And if you're betting on Brian Thomas, you're betting that Trevor Lawrence is going to be helped by Liam Cohen. Trevor Lawrence does not make good decisions all the time. So be very careful that you're not going to get the Trevor Lawrence-Brian Thomas combo of last year, and you're expecting the Mac Jones-Brian Thomas combo. But that said, Brian Thomas is an emerging superstar. If you're betting on him, you're betting that the team can figure out a way to keep getting him the ball, so it totally makes sense to attack him. Circa Million and Circa Survivor are back with a massive $21 million in guaranteed prizes. Circa Million, you pick 5 games against the spread each week, 18 weeks of action, 126 ways to win. $1 million for the winner, and $6 million guaranteed. Circa Survivor, 1 pick a week, no point spread. Last the longest to win it all. At least $15 million guaranteed. Enter in Nevada. Play from anywhere. $21 million guaranteed. Visit circasports.com for details. Tier 4, Nico Collins, Drake London, and A.J. Brown. Nico Collins, you can make a strong case he could be in Tier 2, but Nico Collins always misses significant time. Mostly it's 4+ games. He does have one season with a 2 missed game total. But other than that, when Nico Collins is on the field, he has become an elite player. However, he doesn't see an elite level of targets. We saw in his 1,290-yard season a couple of years ago. It was a target range that was not with the alpha receivers in the game. So there's a little concern there, but Nico Collins, when he gets the ball, there is no questioning. He is one of the best game breakers in the NFL. But again, a high draft pick, you are betting on that first healthy season, because if he misses significant time, that'll sting. Drake London. Drake London is a very good value in drafts, usually getting him about wide receiver 9 or 10. Drake London, in the last 6 games last year, averaged 11 targets and 96 yards a game. In the 3 games with Michael Penix, that went up. 13 targets a game and 117 yards per game. Drake London is the clear number 1 receiver in this offense. He will continue to see high-level targets. And Drake London, don't be surprised if he moves up in Tier 2 when the season's said and done. A.J. Brown. Look, A.J. Brown, from a talent perspective, is as good as Chase. He's as good as Jefferson, but he just doesn't get the targets. No fault of Brown's. Brown in different ways, Brown is just as elite. However, the concern is Saquon Barkley running the ball a lot, the defense giving them leads, and the Eagles taking their foot off the offensive gas in the second half of games. A.J. Brown, when he gets targets, is going to have very, very productive weeks. He's not going to have many bad weeks. Even when he only gets 5 or 6 targets, he can often get you to 70 or 80 yards. The upside is probably not there because of the situation, not because of the player. And then there's Tier 5. You have Ladd McConkey, Garrett Wilson, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. Ladd McConkey had a phenomenal end of the season last year, became a fantasy football superstar. Remember, a lot of that happened when J.K. Dobbins was injured and Gus Edwards, who was pretty much washed, was their running game. So the Chargers had to pass more than they wanted. Well, this year, the Chargers, Omarion Hampton's in, Najee Harris is in. We know Greg Roman wants to run. Be careful, because Ladd McConkey may not get the volume he had late last season, because that is not the identity of what the Chargers want to do. But if McConkey gets a target volume, you've already seen the young man is a star PPR machine. Garrett Wilson has between 147 and 168 targets each year in the league, always over 1,000 yards, usually not much more than 1,100. Justin Fields is at quarterback, and that may get you nervous. It shouldn't. In 2023, we saw Justin Fields work with DJ Moore. DJ Moore had over 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns. He knows, Justin Fields, how to work with an alpha receiver. Garrett Wilson is in line to be the clear alpha receiver, as the Jets really don't have a reliable number 2 receiver. This could be the year we finally see it. The floor is there. We might get the ceiling also. Jackson Smith-Njigba. Last year, broke out. DK Metcalf gone. Tyler Lockett gone. Cooper Kupp in. Well, and Sam Darnold in for Geno Smith. That said, Jackson Smith-Njigba could see 160+ targets. Cooper Kupp, often injured, aging. Rams phased him out last year. If Cooper Kupp is not back to his old ways, there's going to be very little target competition, and volume is king in fantasy football. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to enter the Circa Million at Circa Survivor contest with a massive $21 million in guaranteed prizes. You go to circasports.com for details.